Order at 10:05. There is a quorum because the entire board is here. Thank you guys for all showing up for that. I don't have any welcome and or president's remarks. I don't know. If not,
Thank
you
you.
go down to the agenda. Were there any additions, changes, or does it present itself in an acceptable way?
So the only, Mr. President, the only thing I have is, I added closed session for personnel, but I think, I'm not, I don't have a reason to have that. I had put personnel and legal because I wasn't sure about the redistricting, if we needed to meet about that, but I can talk about it openly in my director's report. And the personnel one, I don't need to meet with the whole board.
Well, keep it on there for now.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, any other changes? If not, it'll stay as presented. We'll go through the minutes. Everybody did get them. Did anybody see anything that needed to be changed? Corrected? And I don't know if it's just the way I print out. I'm sure it's always right. Pages never,
It's probably the way
it's probably just because I might have an older format or something when I look at it.
on
But
the Word document, yeah, so I can make sure, here's the,
yep, yours is right because
Okay.
it says 1 of 5. Yep.
here's the two for you, for you and Laverne to sign if they get approved.
Did anybody see anything? Do we want to break them out or is it okay to do both of them together? Separate meetings?
I move that we use, both, without combine both rather,
A second. As written, right?
as written, yes.
A second.
All right, any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Jump right in. Just a reminder that we are live streaming, doing our thing, and the little note in front of you, we are being recorded, so make sure that we keep everything professional and nothing that should not be to the public. If not, you're up.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President. So, we have still been busy, and you can tell that by, in the director's report, I list all the events that, or meetings, trainings, things like that. And also everything that's been going, through today is listed in there. I'll go over some, highlights when we get, when I get closer, during my director's report. I did want to let you know that I went to DC to help advocate for funding election infrastructure. In 2020, the federal government would give elections $100 million, and now it's like 15 million. That's how much it's been reduced since 2020. And part of what so I met with several different congressmen, Representative Hoyer, Olszewski, and then I met with the aides of a couple others, just expressing the importance of election funding. I know we are in a new office, but I also advocated for everyone across our entire state, because there are other local jurisdictions that are in older buildings, or their warehouse is separate from their office. And some of that funding helps us with like security cameras and things like that. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, because the very next day the government shut down, or that day it shut down, that afternoon. So in part of that shutdown, just for your general information, the U.S. Election Assistance Commission is on furlough. So they are part of the shutdowns, and we don't know if, when the government opens, if they will, if they're going to be a commission anymore. So, which would be sad, because they're a huge help to both jurisdictions on the state level and a local level. So as far as the office, we continue to have things like the pest control, the HVAC system check, things like that. The lighting repairs that were pending for in the warehouse continue to be pending. They came and did part of them. They have to use a scissor lift to get up in the warehouse because the ceiling is pretty tall. The monthly mandatory computer audits that are conducted by the state board occurred in both September and October. And then finally, the phone replacements are complete. There's about 3 or 4 that we are waiting for the new phones, but that is now completed. As far as election equipment in the warehouse, we're in the 4th cycle of the routine battery charging for both for the voting equipment and the poll books. And then also, prior to every election, the state board requires us to test the batteries. And they test like, the percentage of charge and different things like that. So we're incorporating that in with the 4th cycle of charging. So and that's due on or around November 20th, and Amanda and her team have a good head start on that. The documentation for the testing results for the battery testing is due November 20th. For the entire year charging schedule, that document is due to the state board in January. We are on schedule, and that's part of, if you remember, that's part of my evaluation. And we met all of the timelines and goals last year, and we're going to again for 2025. As far as shredding documents that have reached their retention, if you remember, the federal court had some court cases, and they had us hold all of the documents from 2020 and 2022. The court has released both of those documents. It is an incredible amount of shredding because we didn't get the shredding scheduled in time for it to be included in our fiscal year 25 budget. We're now in fiscal year 26. I had to put the rest of the shredding on hold because I don't have it in the fund. So we're just gonna hold the I don't have it in the budget to shred documents from 20 and 22. It includes all of the ballots that are dead ballots now. So it's like pallets and pallets of stuff that has to be shredded because I have to sign off and say, yes, the documents were destroyed. We can't just recycle them. So part of our fault, we didn't get the process done in time. So I'm working on that, but for now, there is room in the warehouse to store it until I can figure out how to rearrange and find some money to finish the
Are these
shredding.
like blank ballots that were never issued at all?
Yes,
Do they have to be shredded?
yes.
You
I
can't-
asked the question. She asked the question.
You can't like personally drive them to the county recycling facility and dump them over and watch them being.
No, I asked the state administrator and he said, Rui, you signed that document saying they were destroyed. And if you take them to recycling or put them in recycling, that's not destroyed.
If you took them to the landfill yourself, I mean,
Yeah, well, he said no, he doesn't recommend that. So, but what we're doing is like on days that maybe the computers are down or, cause there was quite a few days when that we didn't have computers. Or if they need a break, from doing a bunch of data entry, they grab a box of shredding and hand shred it. And believe it or not, that does help
who's
reduce.
got a
it.
fireplace at their
So,
house?
yeah.
You guys can't call a shredding company to just.
That's, we did, and that's what I'm saying, it's an incredible amount. I have to do 3 times my regular budgeted amount, because I'm doing two and a half elections. So we did as much as I had in the budget right now, and I just need to wait a little while, and I told Amanda, because, she gave me that look when I said we have to put it back in the warehouse, but I told her I'm gonna figure it out, I just haven't yet, where I'm gonna get that money from to finish shredding. Prior to us having to pack up 2026, I will have it figured out. When I do my next fiscal year budget for 27, which will start in July of 26, I'm gonna make sure I increase the shredding amount. We didn't use it for 3 fiscal years. The money just kind of but it doesn't roll over. I encumbered the funds for 25, but unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond my control, the stuff was not done timely. So we couldn't use those encumbered funds. And ultimately it's my fault. Anyway, I'll fix it. I will figure out a way to fix it prior to us having to pack up 2024. I mean, 6.
Maria, is that a process that requires multiple people to be present when it's done?
So not multiple people, but we always have at least 2 and they're different party affiliations. So we use Shred-it, which is the same company many government agency uses, and the county has they're one of the county's approved vendors. Amanda has 2 people from her team back there and they hand them the boxes and watch it go through the shredder on the truck. So when it leaves here, it's shredded.
Do you physically shred it here?
They physically shred it here.
They lift it up on a truck, because they do it at my work too. They lift it up and it dumps right in there, and there's a little video that you can watch it actually being shredded on site in the truck outside.
So Amanda tracks how many boxes or pallets or bins that need to be shredded. And then, so she knows, but prior to them getting here, what they are. And then she lets whoever she assigns to do that, 2 people, she lets them know what's being shredded. So then at the end of that day, because they came a couple days, she knows what did get shredded and what's left to get shredded. Does that answer? Is that?
I'm assuming, okay, it's my thought process. I got a little shredder at home. You know,
Yeah, no,
empty them into like the big trash cans that you see at residential homes, the ones with the plastic lids. Harford County uses them a lot. They dump it in there and then they just pick the whole thing up and then dump it.
so the budget you're talking about is money to pay that company to come here, as
yes,
opposed to having employees back there feeding it through a shredder.
yes.
Gonna bring yours in.
30 minutes and it'd be done.
Well, plus I think you could probably, like the one I have at home, I can only put like 2 pieces of paper through at a time. That would take forever. We have the bigger ones here, that we use for things, you know, on a daily basis. And it can fit more than just 1 or 2. So when they do want to take a break or whatever, they'll grab that, wheel it over to their desk and then, you know, sit there for an hour. And believe it or not, we did reduce some when we weren't able to have the computers by doing it that way, and we'll just keep doing it like that.
And the library does them, because you're allowed 2 boxes per person.
Oh, yeah.
And do like a free community shred day. They
Yeah.
just had one at Dundalk, North Point, like last week.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, as far as the 24 presidential primary and general elections, we're trying to put this behind us, but as you know, the comprehensive audit, was received and I issued a response and I shared that response with you all. There were basically only 5 items that were real findings if you look through it. It was my fault, wrote down an extra number and, well, as some of you know, I have dyslexia. I don't do it on purpose. And whoever proofs me didn't catch it because there was 2 other 3s in the number. So I added a 3 to the seal number. And then the other finding was at 1:00 in the morning, after we had picked up all the ballots twice during the day, the person receiving it wrote AM instead of PM, or PM instead of AM. And so the finding was you received the ballots before they were picked up, but it was a human error. They just wrote PM, or they circled. It's a circle when you write the time for the pickup. On the spreadsheet, it was the right time. Obviously, it was just the integrity report. But I figure, and I know no error is a good thing, but I look at it, how many pickups we did it for 45 days and how many.
Handwriting
The
issue.
human error. Yeah, the one was Amanda thought it was a handwriting issue, not really a mistake. Mine was a mistake. I added a 3. You know, sometimes my brain says a number, but I write it something different. Which is why I try to get it, somebody to always proof my numbers, but you know, when we're doing that, and this is no excuse, we don't always have time to stop and proof, especially when it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're trying to receive those ballots because, you know, now we have that new rule where we have to receive them in MD voters within 48 hours. So we're also taking them out of the bins and trying to receive them when we've gotten 15 trays of mail in too at the same time. So no excuse or whatever, but that was basically the other than the minutes being done late, and I'm working with my management team to make sure that doesn't occur in the future. And then the variance was not explained in the minutes. And the reason for the variance, if you remember, we had the ballots that were in the emergency bin that we had to add to a canvas because that scanner broke down, and there were 60 ballots that you all accepted and we included in the canvas, and that explanation wasn't outlined in the minutes. And I'm working with the people that draft the minutes to make sure that we include, you know, in that information in the future, and that we put them in timely. But like I was saying, I sent you a PDF, or, you know, a PDF file if you want printed out copies of either the audit or you know, our response. Let me know, and I'm glad to print that for you. All in all, I think we had a successful 2024 election cycle. As far as the 2025 legislation session, I've been asking about the new law books because, I mean, it's almost November and we don't have them yet. And we actually got an email yesterday saying that they're being shipped on the 22nd, which is today. So next board meeting, I should have the new law books for you guys. There's also no new information regarding the new risk eliminating audit, which is now required prior to us certifying. We have yet one more audit to do. However, I am on that work group with the state board. So as soon as I have more information on that, I'll let you know. But as far as I can tell, it's basically very similar to when we do the manual audit after every general election. And it's a percentage of the votes either cast early voting election day, provisionally, or mail-in ballots. For the Voter Services Department is, the work is current and processed when received. All of the different monthly reports are either in process or completed. I provided the board with a new, with the most updated numbers, and we're at like 50, we're almost to 55,000 or so, records being manually audited. So that's pretty, I mean, I know we have a long way to go, but that's still a pretty good chunk that we've been able to get through. The other numbers are on the sheet, are on your sheet, along with the monthly statistic reports for August and September.
I was looking at that for the fuzzy century.
Uh-huh.
Last meeting, I noticed that our minutes had 24 were canceled out of 249 entries from the century fuzzy.
Okay.
That's 9.6%. Is that, so when it says canceled, is that something that we missed, or what is that?
No, that's, the fuzzy is that extra thing that the state does now in addition to the regular DHMH stuff. So it's a back end new procedure that they're doing that's helping us a little bit, because there's always a delay, or sometimes a delay in DHMH. And if somebody passes away in another state, we might not know about it or something like that. So it's not something that we missed. It's just because that we have upgraded some of our processes, and so is the state board. They've made improvements to the reports that we receive to help our voter rolls.
Now, when do you get
And
that
then
fuzzy?
also-
Every month?
Right, that's what I was gonna say. Thank you, Will. So previously we would get the fuzzy, I think, quarterly, and now we're getting it monthly, which is also, you're gonna notice a little bit of change in numbers because of that. So the fuzzy reports we're now getting monthly, which makes it, I'm happy about that. one, the files aren't as large because they're monthly instead of quarterly. So it's a little bit easier to manage internally, but also because then we're able to make those changes or corrections or cancellations or whatever needs to be done sooner rather than waiting for the quarterly report.
So that was last month. So this month it was 3 out of the 353 were canceled.
Right, because now it's monthly.
Okay.
Yeah. And this also is, it's from not September 12th to 10/20. So this is really part of September.
Yeah, a whole
And
month.
then,
Like
yeah,
An extra 5 weeks,
Yeah.
5.5 weeks
yeah,
instead of just a month.
yeah. I thought that would be better to give it to you all in one rather than give you one for September and then October, because that's a little confusing. So that's what I asked Ron, he's the one who does this report for me. I said, when we have board meetings, if you do it from the day, whatever day you cut off, like he cut it off Monday of this week, which made sense. So then the next report, the next meeting, it'll be from 10/21 till the week of the next meeting. So your reports might not be, like this says September 25, but it's really, like you said, it's really those additional weeks. So I'll have him fix the date on these reports so that it's more clear on the time that those numbers.
That's clear to me, 9/12 to 10/20.
Yeah, well, it should be September and October. So, but anyway, yeah. And I know this report, last night I met with I was asked to do an election briefing with the Republican, I don't know, the Republican something club. I can't, and I apologize, I can't remember the name. And I was able to refer to this report, and I know that they appreciated the fact that you all are tracking us and the work that we're doing, and that you're also really looking at the voter rolls to make sure and holding us accountable to keep our voter rolls up to date. So I know that when I say these things, like the board has asked me to have this report and, provide you all with updates, the public receives that very well and seems to appreciate it. So I want to tell you something that happened in September. So in September, okay. So historically, the MVA, if somebody like moves to another state or passes away or whatever, it's called an MVA surrender. They surrender their license, right? Because you can't have a license in 2 different states. So historically, the state board has sent what they call an MVA surrender letter. And they've sent it from their office because they get the information from the MVA. For whatever reason, that didn't happen from March 1st, 2024 until early in September. We were unaware of that. We received a file with over 11,000 records of people that needed the MVA surrender letter. Because it covered such a large time period, there were between 500 and 600 of them that really should not have gotten the letter for one reason or another. They were already canceled in our system or whatever, because that is a long period of time, and our voter records are very fluid. Things went back and forth. The state board tried to give us a spreadsheet so that we could remove all of the people, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, it was a long process. We pretty much had to manually look at almost 11,000 records to determine if they should get the letter or attach the letter to their file or some way go in their record. If they're canceled or already inactive, they wouldn't get the letter because the letter says, hey, you're active, but you've surrendered your license, something like that. To make a long story short, we've finished that process. The state board has told us that from now on, the local boards will do this. They're not going to do it anymore. But the problem of the file not being up to date, as current as we need, by the time they drop the file to us, we upload it. We could have already done something with a voter record. So ensure no more letters go out incorrectly. we have to manually look at every one of these before the letter goes out, which is pretty much a heavy lift for a large county. We've explained that to State Board. They're trying to work on something in the back end on their part to make it a little easier for the local boards. But until then, I've set up a process internally where we will verify on the day the letter is going to be printed and mailed that that person, that voter should get this letter prior to it being printed and mailed.
Why are they giving us stuff over a year late?
I don't have an answer to
I
that.
mean, they cannot expect us to process stuff quickly when we're not getting March 2024.
Yes,
That's over a year. So
Yes.
when did you get it? Within the last month, 2 months?
I got it in September of
So
25.
April, May, June, July, August, so almost a year and a half later.
Yes,
That's unacceptable.
yes. So,
We can make that comment to the state board. You know, a year and a half later, we're getting records that they then expect them to jump on immediately. That's unacceptable. Okay.
Now, these 11,000 for Baltimore County, or are they just for the whole state?
Baltimore County.
Okay.
They were ours. We had 11, we had a ton. It was a heavy lift. It was an extremely heavy lift. And then what made it harder is we had to manually check. The whole process was not easy, but I did not want people to get letters or us to issue letters that were incorrect. And I also didn't want someone's file to show in their activity something incorrect. So we tried to be as prudent and careful as possible and not send letters. There were about 5 or so that did get issued incorrectly, and I've either reached out to those voters personally, or if the person was deceased, I reached out to the family member that contacted us. I personally reached out to them and expressed my apologies for them receiving the letters. And one person wrote saying that this is ridiculous. A year later, you're sending me this letter. You should have sent it a year ago. And I mean, it's hard for me not to say you're right, but so I have reached out to those 5 or 6 people that did get a letter incorrectly, or in the one case, that person, the letter was correct, but it was just not timely, and that's what they were complete. And I understand that as well. But from here forward, we have a new system. We now know that the state board is not going to do that process anymore. They're going to transfer the files to us, and we have a system in place where the letters will be mailed. But prior to us printing or mailing them, we're going to verify, we're going to still manually check each record to ensure that this letter should go to this voter.
So is it going to be more timely?
Yeah, well, yes. They're dropping them now every day. They're dropping them, that's probably Josh.
And then do you know, did any other counties have the same issue, records this late? I don't know if you had any.
Everybody did. Everybody in the state got the same thing we got.
You
We
know,
just
if
had a
anybody
ton.
else had a large amount like any of the other bigger counties or?
Just, PG and Montgomery. I mean, some of the counties only had like, I don't know what they say, 20 or 30. Oh, this is no big deal. It's only 30. I'll take it. We get 30 a day or whatever. We had almost, it was 10,000 and something. It was almost 11,000. To me, that was a heavy lift all the way around. But we got it straightened out, and we're on the other side of it. We have a good process in place. We are getting the batches now, daily. They're sending them to us timely, but there still is a little bit of a delay from the time the NBA sends it to them and then they send it to us. So to ensure, we just do a manual check of the ones, but the batches they're running between maybe 20 and 30 in a batch or whatever, or for a whole week, it's less than 100. So it's much more manageable now.
I'm starting to take notes because in the same respect that the state came down to us last meeting and gave us feedback on what happened, I want to discuss with our board down the road, but I am personally taking notes so that we can give feedback to the state as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's quarterly or something like, okay, you want to come and give us feedback on processes and things like that. We then want to have, not just wait until we get it a year later,
Yeah.
but have some of these things that we can have the conversation with the state and say, this is an unexpected thing and this is unacceptable to get records a year and a half late and then expect us to jump all over it.
Yeah.
So yes, while you fix the problem,
Yeah.
and they know, we need to make sure that we can document this and say, well, you know what? we were working on all of this stuff over here, but now we have this over here that you gave to us late, which means this is now gonna be behind or whatever.
Well, and luckily we were able to figure it out where we did not fall behind on our other items, but had this been 2026, there's no way we could have done that lift of 11.
Figured it out,
You know what I mean?
you're a great team.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah.
We know that. We're just gonna
Yeah.
make sure that state board's aware of that.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
that It's being received in the batch process directly. Is it being processed like in real time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now, because last week was the first week after we got them all, went through all of those, and I think it was last week, in my timing, I might be a week off. I said, to start, we're gonna do it once a week. So we get the batch every day, but we're gonna do it once a week, because that gives us time to manually look at each one before the letter's generated. So before the letter's even printed, we make sure that that person should be getting, or that voter should be getting this letter. Does that make sense? Once, and the reason I said, the other reason I said once a week is because the batches were smaller, and I thought, let's get a handle on how to do this and what's the best way to do it first. And then if we find we need to do it every day, then we will. But otherwise, I was trying to like not make it an everyday thing, because we have all these other things that are everyday things. I was trying to make it more like when we get the DHMH or fuzzy list, and make it a weekly thing. So, but the bottom line is yes, it's definitely timely, because it's within a week of the MBA notifying the state board. Yeah. Okay, so the election judge and training department, they are almost finished their revamped training program. It's exciting too. Casey and that team has done such a great job. Probably in December, we'll show you, so we'll do like a trailer. So you can see, I'll get them to put together a little 2-minute trailer or something, but they just took the ball and ran with it, which I mean, I could just hug them all. And very impressed. Alan has that background, educational background in photography and videography and all that. And then Casey is very creative, and so is Cody and the people working on that. So they've done an awesome job. We're not there yet where it's all the way developed, but we are, I'd say 70% there. And then we're also at the same time, Kimberly and Amanda have been working on a email, it's called MailChimp program, an email program, so we can send mass information to our election judges along with the text messages too. And then, anyway, so that's all going very well. I don't know the 2026 training schedule yet because, hey, Josh.
Hello.
What time is it?
10:38.
All right, thanks. I don't know the training schedule yet for 2026 because I'm still in negotiations with Rec and Parks to try to find a building on the east side so that we train some on the east side, some on the west side. Because I know that it is, especially with the Key Bridge being down, it's sometimes difficult to get over here. So I'm still working on that. I probably won't honestly have the training scheduled to 2026, to January. We'll start registering everybody for training in February and start the training in March. As far as the election judge manual, the state board had originally told us that it would be ready. Okay, so what happened? Group, it consists of people from all the local boards and the state board. They come up with the template, the statewide template. That template then has to go to the Attorney General's office for approval. And then we get it and we make it county specific with all of our processes and things. We were told that that would be available October 1st. I was all excited, but it's still not available. So we're on hold with the manuals, but I've already started the process with the printer and all of that. So when we do get the manual, we make our updates and we can get it printed and ready for the training. Breon is our new kind of webmaster, junior webmaster. Amanda still remains the senior webmaster. Him and Cody both have taken the training for the program that the county uses countywide for the agency's websites, and Breon's taken it over altogether. Check out our new the website, because we now have the 2026 information on there, and it includes a link to the candidate filing. And then there's a link for any press releases and stuff like that.
So we have greater control of that now. I know
Yes,
before we had to submit stuff to OIT for them to put up and things like that. So that process is not.
so have to submit, but go ahead, do you mind?
So it's still the same, they use Drupal. So it's still the same, it's just a little bit easier where it's not really a delay in time. It's much quicker. If you ask me, I mean, if you put something on there, depending on who's working, they just have certain criterias that you have to do. So, but it is a lot easier.
Cause I know last time, like I know Kate Sullivan would make comments about sometimes the information wasn't on there and it wasn't our fault.
Right.
We gave it to OIT, there was just a delay.
The only part that is a little bit time consuming, but it's gotten much better is the accessibility part. That's gotten easier.
That's a good point, Amanda, because when we had those, the bigger delays was around the time when the county said anything that's gonna be up after, unless it's only gonna be up for a short period of time, like a board action notice is only up for a couple days or whatever, has to be made handicap or ADA accessible, which takes a little bit longer, right? Do we do that part, or they do that, or Drupal does that? Okay. Okay,
And that's what used to take them a long time because you have to go line by line, letter by letter.
but now we do
When
it.
we do it, it's a lot easier now. So it
Yeah.
doesn't take as long. So like accessibility, if it's gonna be up for longer than 3 days, we don't need to make it accessible. So like all the district counts, precinct counts, that would take a long time to sit there and make each line accessible. But because it's only up for 30 days, we don't have to do that part. So getting it out there and then kind of fixing how the website's laid out has made it a lot easier.
And then I met with the printing vendor to talk about our sample ballot mailing, because I don't want, if they do other jurisdictions, that's fine, but we need to be first. So I already met with them to let them know, put us on your calendar now, because our ballots, our sample ballots need to go out, blah, blah, blah. So I met with them. They agree with me. We're already on their schedule. I've started the process for the rec and the postage and all of that. I also talked to them about printing the voter notification cards after we complete redistricting. And we do not have to send them first class mail, which is gonna save us a ton of money. So I'm excited about that, because 700,000 times, what's a stamp now, $1? I think it's like 80 cents or something. That's a lot of money in postage alone. So we can send them out through our bulk mail for after, because we have to, after we redistrict, everybody will get a new card. So to date, we have 19 candidates that have filed for office, not, the county council and the county executive, not many candidates have filed yet. I think they're waiting for redistricting, which leads me to the next part is the redistricting. As you know, the county council approved the map. And in accordance with the charter, it's enacted 45 days after the approval, which means I can't start moving any lines until November 1st. Now, I've not received a lawsuit, but I've heard there's not gonna be a lawsuit, because I've heard that there's no standing, that the council's map that was approved is in accordance with the, and this is, again, this is what I've heard, is in accordance with the Federal Voting Rights Act. So they don't have standing as they did in 22 when they sued about the map. They don't have that now. So I don't expect to receive a lawsuit. I haven't yet, obviously. And I've started doing the preliminary stuff. I can't move any lines in the system, but we've started doing the pre-work. The school boards will stay at 7 districts. So historically in Baltimore County, the school board districts have been shared with the council districts. they did not increase to 9. So we've already established a school board district in our system, but I didn't want to send out voter cards with that. So we put a pause on that. We'll send the voter card, and you'll notice that in the past, it only said council, legislative and congressional. Now it's also going to have the school board district. It might cause a little bit of confusion with voters, but that's going to be part of my voter outreach and education in 26. But I didn't want to start that part until after we finish the redistricting. I don't know if we're going to have more or less precincts than 243, which brings me to the next thing, our election plan.
Do you know about the Republican Central Committee, because they follow the county council lines? So are they going to follow the Board of Ed lines, or are they going to add?
So we haven't received the, I don't believe, and I'll follow up and find out, I haven't received that letter like we did from the.
The Democrat Central Committee follows the legislative
Yeah.
line, so it doesn't
Did you
change.
receive that letter from the, I have to check, because I remember getting something from them, but I don't think I've received that yet, so I don't know that answer yet. And I saw Patty last night, Patty Fallon, and, but I'll find that out. Because with the additional districts, that would have put them having a lot of people.
Yeah, with
So they were talking about making it, about reducing, keeping it the 9 council districts, but reducing how many. Yep, that's what I
So
heard.
you still get 27 members as opposed to the 28.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's in their bylaws, so I'll follow up with Patty about that. I'll try to get an answer about that sooner rather than later. So the election plan, it's under new business for you all to approve. The only thing I wanted to talk about right now, because it's under new business, is just to let you know that we will not be doing polling places now, but we will need to do polling places in December or January. I don't think I'm going to have it ready for the December meeting because I can't even work on the map until November 1st, 2nd. But as soon as I know the polling places, I'm gonna email it to you all electronically. And you know, my recommendations to propose and get it on the website so that you all can approve it, and then the candidates will know what district they're filing to run for. You know, the close of registration, the close of candidate filing is the end of February. So I want to try to get it done as soon as possible because I know they want to know. Anyway, that's all I want to say on the election plan and redistricting now, unless there's any questions. And then, the state mandated director performance program, you all met with the state administrator in August. I still am not finished my response to the evaluation. If you remember, there were 2 things that the state incorrectly put in there. I don't remember both of them off the top of my head right now, but to me, they mattered and I wanted an updated version. They gave me the updated version and I'm almost finished with my response. Prior to me sending that response, I'll share it with you all. And you can tell me whether it's approved for me to send on. But I really need to address the part where they talked about the trainers and you know, pretty much, I need to address that because we need to say back, okay, wait a minute, you know, we know that our AV system wasn't installed and we had to delay training. That was out of our hands. We communicated with you all. Sent us trainers that were screaming and almost got into a fist fight in front of 45 judges, or sent us trainers that didn't know what a cradle point was. Those things, I'm not trying to go back and forth with them, but I think that it's important because of you know, some of what was said in the evaluation about the training program. Not so much defending our program because I know, and we've talked about it needing a upgrade, and we are working to that end. But more so saying, we need to work together on this stuff. And if we are working together, which we did through the whole cycle, we were very transparent about our issues, then that should be also included. If you bring up the issue, bring up that, but it was resolved or whatever. Doesn't that make sense? So that's basically what I'm drafting now. As far as personnel, well, I wanted to talk about the budget real quick, and this I have to add into my report. Baltimore County is involved in the Fair Election Fund now. And that money doesn't come out of our budget for that. That's different. We also don't administer it because, we need to stay impartial and all of that. However, we do work with our county administration and finance department who does issue the money. And we also work with state board who oversees all of it for the whole state, okay? So like we send a list of the candidates that filed, we let the state board and the county finance office know if someone asks about the program, we make sure that both agencies have updated information. Well, apparently I just learned a week and a half ago that the state reached out to our county administration, and that we have to add $50,000 in our budget to pay the salary of the person at the state board that manages the Fair Election Fund for the counties that are involved in it. And I think it's Montgomery, PG, Howard, and us. I don't remember who else. And we pay a percentage similar to the way we do, when we get our quarterly billing. I just letting you know that that's an unfunded expense for my budget because I didn't know the state went directly to the administration rather than, let me know about it in advance. So I didn't learn about it till after it was all said and done because my administration assumed I knew, but I didn't. So it's not in our current budget. And that is gonna be an expense that I'm gonna have to talk to the administration about.
It's a new expense do the other counties have had this?
Not that I know of.
This is new for the state board coming and saying that this is,
As far as I know, I don't have a lot of information because they didn't loop me in. And then what I did find out, I found out from my administration.
the state board should not be contacting the administration. They should be contacting you.
Well, with the I understand why because we don't have anything with the Fair Election Fund, but giving me a heads up would have been.
It would come out of your budget.
Yeah, especially because hey, Rui, we're letting them know. So speaking of the budget, in 2024, the state changed their, not the state board, but the state for state employees, where they have that deferred match for retirement. Vice President Johnson, can you explain a little bit what that is?
They match up to a percentage of what you put in
To retirement.
retirement, so.
So it started in,
6 to 4.
Yeah, it used to be 5, when I first started, it was 6%, 6%.
so the majority of our employees are state employees and we pay the county, it's in my budget, 100% salary, retirement, benefits. We pay all of that, right? I get a bill. Every time we get a paycheck the following week, I get a bill saying, this is what, all of your counties, we have to pay the state back. So when that new match started in 2020, it was in 2024, or 2023, but it would have started in fiscal year 24.
4, right?
Whoever did not include it in the bill they send me. So today, by Tuesday of next week, I'm gonna have a bill from the state board that says you owe us this much money for your state payroll from the last pay period. That was not included on any invoice since then, quite a while ago.
The retirement.
Just the retirement, the match, 2 fiscal years ago. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, they said, we made a mistake, we forgot to bill you. We have to back up and bill you for these other fiscal years. I get why they have to. I went back and forth asking a bunch of questions. Originally, I thought it was gonna be about over $100,000, trying to figure out where I'm gonna come up with that money in my current fiscal year. And it's only gonna be 6,500, so I'm excited about that. No, so I'm gonna be able to, I'm just gonna pay it with our next quarterly billing. And then now, the bill that I get, the last 2 bills that I've gotten, since they've told us about their oversight and not billing us, it's included in the invoice. It's actually on there and it says, Maryland, I forget, MSP or, I don't know, you probably know you know what I'm talking about, on the check register, it shows now. And I've let our budget analyst know, the finance department know, and I've made a note to make sure that when we do our budget, because it's budget time again, December is budget time for fiscal year 27, when I do the budget, to make sure that I add that, even if when the state board gives me, because they do a proposed or estimated state salary, because they know the health insurance and stuff like that I don't know. They give that to me just in case they don't put that deferred amount on. I have a big note in my file to make sure that I add it so that we don't run short on our budget. I'm already like super nervous with our budget because of redistricting. I couldn't budget for redistricting because it wasn't a fact when we did the fiscal year 26 budget. It was only a guess, maybe it will pass on the ballot, maybe it won't. So I'm already a couple $100,000 with the redistricting cost between, the VNCs, the staff, the overtime and all of that. So these extra expenses, they're like, major red flags in my mind. But I wanted to let you know that also
A
happened.
couple $100 each pay. If that's only 6,500 for 2 years, it's really not. a
It
large-
depends on the person, the employee, and how much they contribute. Because it's a match up to $600.
But it looks like, based on the numbers now, if they keep doing the same levels,
Maximum for every employee, and you have a,
I haven't done that spreadsheet, but I'm going to. Yep, I'm gonna do the maximum, even if they don't currently do that.
they can change and go up and down.
That was my plan. Yeah. So right, and I'm gonna be honest, when all this was happening, I was going back and forth and I said, well, wait a minute, I have 2 employees that work for the state now. And I was billed for one of them for like 2 months afterwards, even though they were at the state and had to get a credit. I didn't want any of that to happen. So I went back, so they came up with a spreadsheet to show me. So I wanted to make sure if the person works in another jurisdiction or went on to another state agency or the state board, that we're not still paying so they did a spreadsheet from the time that it started all the way through the 2 times ago when they started billing me. And I just got it this morning, so I haven't finished looking through it, but that was my thought. Take that spreadsheet for fiscal year 27, but make sure that I do the full match, because you're right, somebody could change their mind or stop working here, or somebody might come that wants it and takes the place of somebody who didn't have it. So I figured if I take the total number of state employees and the total match and fund that, we should be good. That's my thought.
it's like the state board needs to work in an office instead of working from home, and maybe they could get some stuff done. A year and a half late on this report, a year and a half late. So, I mean, there seems to be history
So I
here.
know they had some personnel changes too when all this happened. So, and the person that's doing it now is Shelley, and she's awesome. Yeah, I know they had several different people in their ahead of their accounts payable during that time period. Shelley had moved on and now she came back. So I know that, and she's super helpful. I mean, and I know she wasn't around when it happened. I don't think the person is around when it happened. I think that they don't work for the state board. I don't know. But I know that Shelley did say even prior to us figuring out the amount, if we needed to break it up, we could break it up. You know what I mean? Like she was super helpful, trying to, explain it to me because I had explained it to my budget analyst and to our county administration. I have to explain it to them. Anyways. Yeah, I know. Doesn't it feel like we just did it? Not the state. Thanksgiving, the meeting is canceled because it would have fallen the week of Thanksgiving unless you guys want to come on Thanksgiving to even see me. It's up to you. But that, give it to me then after that meeting, then we'll have to meet again before the end of December. So that's why I'm just give it to
I
me.
wrote some there, since we're not really talking about personnel and just a process, do we need a closed session if I just talked about some dates?
Oh, no, that doesn't need.
Okay, so that's why. Do comments, and I said back to me, it was 2 weeks, which would be like November 5th. I can put something together and then Crystal can clean it up. And then is it okay if we met virtually? Because we don't have to meet to discuss that in a closed session.
Closed session, right. I just still need to announce that you're meeting. So when you have the meeting, Amanda will have to make a link and you have to open it in open and then say immediately, sorry, ask for a motion to go into closed session and then close it. And then you know how you always say
No further business after we come back, yep.
that part.
I
Yeah.
mean, we can look at it, we can decide, but I was thinking maybe a virtual meeting the week before Thanksgiving will be like November 19th. And we all agree with everything. And then if you're okay, Derek and I could arrange one day, if you come a little bit from over here to meet us somewhere in Towson or something, rather than, maybe the
You
two of
guys-
us could.
The 10th.
That's
We
fine.
could do it before.
I
the
didn't want to
meeting.
stress you out. I mean, I know it's all good stuff, but I didn't want to stress you out on the party and stuff like that, so.
It's up to you. I don't mind coming. I can come all the way that way.
Towson.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
and because it'd only be two of us, it wouldn't be a majority of the board, so we wouldn't have to, it wouldn't be like a board meeting, it would just be
yeah,
a conversation.
that's fine with me.
Does that sound good for everybody?
I was trying to make it so you guys didn't have to come back in December.
Well, that's why I said if we,
We're gonna-
The week of the
this-
17th.
December 10th, is that the party date?
Yes, that's the party day. Yeah.
The only thing I would recommend that Rui get her response to the previous evaluation back, so it doesn't become part of this evaluation.
So I'm gonna have that finished and to you by Monday.
Okay, that's fine. I
I
just
remember. Right, it's not.
So I understand. That makes sense. Yeah,
Should be okay.
I agree. And I actually was thinking that when I was looking at the timeline, thinking the same thing. I want to close that with the state board. And it's not hard to close either because we've already started working. We already knew, like we knew the training needed, we already knew pretty much.
Does November 5th sound okay for information to be back?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks.
Motion to-
And then does the 19th look good for everybody to meet virtually?
Of November.
November.
So do you need Amanda to send you the link or she can send a link and make you the owner or the host or whatever it's called?
Fine, yeah.
And then that way it can be, and then she can post she can make you the host and you panelists. We'll join just so you can say the regular meeting part. And then she can make it so the only people that can talk or hear are panelists.
That's right. November
Take
19th.
everybody else out. That might be on.
Time.
After 12 or later, I have a 9 to
Fine with
12.
me.
Yeah, that's fine.
You want us-
Is 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock? What do you want?
Yeah, that's good.
Which one?
What date? November 19th, right?
Time.
Is noon good for everybody?
I could do
Okay
that.
with me.
Al, is that good? All right, so we're gonna do November 19th at noon.
So I'm gonna call that when I post it, a special meeting of the board.
Okay.
And then, and in the announcement and the agenda, I'll put that you're gonna immediately enter into closed session.
Yep.
Okay. And then the last thing I just want to let you know is that the recruitment process is finished for the vacant county and state positions, with the exception of one position is on hold. So we have we have 4 people that need to be sworn in. 2 are new county employees and 2 are new. One is a brand new state employee and the other is a county employee that now is a state employee. I filled the positions where, like, Craig Booth retired September 1, Linda Willard had retired. And then we had 2 other people that went on to other opportunities. So all of those positions have been filled. However, we're still in a recruitment process, but that's recruiting the 3 election judge, HR temporary county positions. The posting is already up, so if you know of anybody that might be interested in that position, it's on the Baltimore County Government website. They're full-time positions, but only for 2026. So I only have the funding during an election year. And I went ahead and started the posting recruitment now with hopes that we can have them, we can hold the interviews, we can have them go through the hiring onboarding process and have them in place by January to start training. So when we start scheduling judge training and rehiring the judges and having to do all of that hiring and onboarding in the county workday, they're already in place and trained by that mid-February, March deadline. So I wanted to let you know, just in case you see, we have 3 open positions. They're the county temp 1-year positions. But that's how we got Casey, and she's awesome. She started as one of the HR county temps, and she's now a state employee that's doing an incredible job. So, yeah, and the other 2 people work here too, that were, so just like county employees move on to being state employees, that's always exciting, and it also helps us with training. And with that, I just listed the meeting dates, but we just changed that. We're still gonna meet on the 10th. The holiday party will be held directly after, and more information will come. We'll email you guys about the holiday party. And with that, I am finished.
All right, thank you. Board count.
Hello, everybody. I apologize for not being there in person. I had transposed next week's board council meeting on my calendar. I apologize. The biggest thing we have going on is, what we already said is that there has been no redistricting lawsuits as of yet.
Whoop,
And that's the biggest thing we have going forward is that that stays the same. I feel like it's like talking to a pitcher 7 innings through a no-hitter at this point. So we're just gonna hold our breath until the first. And then we have, the board council meeting is next week, next Wednesday. If there's any pertinent information or anything that comes from that, I'll send an email to all the board members and director.
And then Will, is Josh gonna join the meeting on the 19th, or he doesn't need to? Cause
I
Amanda will
have it
send
there. I'll
him
be
the
there.
link. Well, it's virtual.
Right.
So
My
let Amanda
specialty.
know if you want him to get it.
All right,
But that's it as far as anything. Board councils.
thank you. Any regular board old business? I had on my notes, did voter 1 and 2 that we tabled for additional information come in
I got one of them, but not the other one. The other one is gonna come this week.
for the confidential voters? So
Yeah,
3 and 4, we approved as is. 1 and 2, we needed additional information. 1 Voter one gave the information.
voter one, wait, it was 1 and 2, we needed additional.
Additional.
So voter one gave the information, I'm waiting on voter two. I was gonna present them both at the same time because they were similar in nature,
But I
but they
think
remain
you
confidential.
voted that as long as you got the information, you didn't have to bring it back to us.
Oh, okay, I missed that
Yeah,
part.
yeah, I'm-
Okay, awesome.
I said,
Okay.
I think it was, I think we wrote in there like pending
Yeah.
further, as long as you got. I was just checking in my head to see if they came through.
One did and one's waiting for the police report. Sometimes it takes a minute. It was easier for voter one to get theirs than voter two. So, yeah.
Any other old business? All right, seeing none, new business?
So I feel like I'm talking too much. Am I talking too much, everybody? So I sent this out again in 2 emails, but I didn't get the kickbacks till the next morning. So I didn't realize you didn't get it Monday until Tuesday morning. But the PowerPoint, we're gonna share the screen. And I can go over this. Crystal had asked a few really good questions. And we can I answered her briefly in the email, and we can go into more discussion if you would like, when we get to the early voting center part. So by law, the board has to establish the 2026 election plan. The election plan includes the location of our ballot boxes and also our early voting locations. The director, I'm charged with the responsibility of doing all the investigative work, determining what buildings are available, if they meet all federal, state, local laws and regulations. And also whether they will serve our voters, voter convenience, parking, things like that, I also have to determine. So I have done that investigation and I've gotten the maps. Oh, and then some of the other things I need to consider for ballot box is whether it has 24-hour video surveillance or whether we would have to fund, getting that in. There's enough boxes equitably distributed around the county. And our county is so different than most counties because the city sits right in the middle of us. And I think we talked about that a little bit before. And then, excuse me, I also have to consider, now we're able to consider past, because remember in 2022, it was hard to judge because 2020 was the first time we had that much mail-in. 22 mail-in was still new. 24 was a presidential. Now we're in a gubernatorial. So it's still a little hard to look at history. But we did, Amanda and I went back and looked at the volume of ballots that were placed in the boxes. So there were several that it made sense to move that to a more voter-friendly location, and that's part of my recommendation. So in 2024, we had 36 ballot box locations. To better serve the voters in our county, I recommend that we place an additional 2 boxes. 31 of the locations will be exactly the same as they were in 2024. 7 of them would be new, and 2 out of the 7 locations are additional boxes. So the 2 new part of the new boxes, these are relocated, is due to construction too. So there's construction at some of the schools, so we might have had to move it. We're gonna have to move that polling place too, because there's construction. One of the new ones that we're doing is replacing Oregon Ridge. If you remember last election cycle, Oregon Ridge started locking that gate at 6 o'clock every night. So then voters couldn't get into the box after 6 o'clock. So they're not gonna not do that again. I can't get them to leave the gate open 24/7. We can't set it out on what is that, Schwann Road, that windy road? There's no place to set it there. We can't set it on the asphalt going up there. And I thought, well, it's kind of back in the cut anyway, back there. So why not look into CCBC right off of York Road, which is right next to the Royal Farms, and they were more than excited to host the box. They already have the 24-hour surveillance. It's ADA compatible, where the person is able to drive up, drop the ballot and keep it moving. So I want to relocate Oregon Ridge to CCBC, and it's 0.7 miles away from each other. It's not very far. It's very close to each other. The other, new location is Dumbarton Middle, and that's one of the constructions. There's construction at Towson High. A new location, Rosedale, Recreation Activity Center, that's, added for voter convenience because, just for voter convenience, we have all of those boxes in that area, have a big return on ballot. So, Dan and I talked and we thought that's a good place. It's close to, a lot of, houses where their kids walk to school. So we added that one, for that reason. Construction at Ridgely Middle, at Delaney High, so the closest, school is Ridgely Middle. That would be a new one. There's also, this is another change that I did for, voter convenience and also access. So if you go down Reicherstown Road towards the city line, almost when you're at the city line is Millbrook Elementary, way back here in the cut. It's way back in like a residential neighborhood. That box sometimes didn't have any ballots in it. If it had a ballot, it'll be one or two because it's so far off the beaten path. And then when we did get ballots in it, a lot of times they were city ballots because it's so close to the city line. So I worked with the Pikesville Library, which is right next to the state police and DGIS, right? And they have 24-hour surveillance and they would love the opportunity to host a box. So that is super convenient, right off of Reicherstown Road in Pikesville. So I thought more people are gonna use that box than they ever used Millbrook's. So that's why I'm recommending replacing Millbrook with the Pikesville Library. Then we also have, the Middle River Recreation Center, which would be replacing Victory Villa because there's construction planned at Victory Villa. That's other boxes in that area as well. And then the other new location that is in addition to the 36, was I asked the county administration, can we put one at the old courthouse? Cause I thought, shoot, people go to there all the time for all the different agencies, like planning is in there. There's a lot of different agencies right in that area and a lot of people work in Towson. So I thought that would be super convenient. So I recommend that we add a box, and put it at the old courthouse. Amanda and I have not decided exactly where, because we want to go in person to see the camera reach. So we haven't decided on which side, because in there 3 entrances, or is it 2? There's either 2.
Just out of curiosity, does it make, because when I saw that, I said, well, there's no free parking there, so there's no place to pull.
So that's what we're gonna go and figure out, and that's what,
Unless there's a
Director
place that
Schindel-
you can have. Drop in and go. So I don't know if there's a place, because there's no free parking in Towson.
Yeah, and then wherever they do, right in front of the buildings is where all the county vehicles line up and take the.
Take
space.
all the
So-
spaces, yeah.
So Amanda's gonna work with Emmanuel, that's the camera guy at the county. And we're gonna set up a date where we go, or I go and she looks at the camera or whatever, where we can go and stand and see the best place to put it, but yes.
Where they
we
park
would
and then.
set a section where the person can pull up, yeah. And then you know how it has that black fence? I was trying to decide whether it would be better on that side of the black fence or this side. It has to be on either asphalt or concrete.
The old courthouse, that's the one where the county council, that building, where the county
Yeah.
council meets. So then you gotta make it on the one side, because the other side is not ADA compliant because it's steps, so it has to be on the one side.
So what if we don't put it all the way up by the building? If we put it somewhere, because Well, and again, I haven't figured out placement. I just know I want it somewhere. But instead of putting it way up by the building entrance,
Right.
like put it closer to where the person's gonna pull in and park.
Right.
Because, well, that's why we're gonna go and to figure out if they, and I'm.
Go past it because that's where the county executive's parking space is, right here. That's 24 hours a day, right there.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Okay,
That's
And then
You can't.
on that side.
Side.
So what? And go down that other road, yes, what if we put it on that side?
bank and all is, the M&T Bank,
Is
that
that where
road.
the bank, it's where, Drew's office is on that side,
Bottom.
isn't it?
Drew's office is on
Going towards the
Washington
courthouse,
Avenue.
going, the real courthouse going the other way.
Yeah, it's on
Right,
Washington.
the main entrance.
So, but isn't Washington Avenue isn't that one of the road?
And it's the cross street.
So what if we put it on that side instead of in front of instead of directly in front of because I'm sure they have cameras all the way around that building, right? So maybe we could put it on the Washington Avenue because
Outside the fence or inside the fence?
that's what I'm asking. Which do you think would be better?
Yeah, the only thing is there are, and I don't know if they have an agreement, but they have on Washington Avenue, right there on that street, are during the day, are standing food trucks.
They are.
Oh, I didn't know that. 'Cause I always go at like 4:30 or 5 for the council meeting.
They do farmers.
And they're
market
all the way up
Saturdays
on
and
that
stuff.
side of the road? Oh,
A big trash can then.
Well, the,
are they gonna
there's
feed
free
the ballot?
parking in Towson at the district court, which is on Chesapeake across York Road, where the library is.
Chesapeake across York Road, where the library is.
You have to walk.
Yeah.
That's too far to walk, isn't it? I
Well,
kind
the
of
box would
I
have to be
mean,
over there.
I kind of like the idea of somebody being able to just pull up, jump out, go run and drop it, or if they're on their way into the building for a reason, or work in the building, or whatever.
About, because across the street, and I'm not saying that we move this, but across, it's still on that same street, it's the Armory. You don't have to get out your car if you put it,
You're right.
it's housing.
It's right there.
But then that
The
might.
Towson University owns the armory now.
Is it Towson University?
University owns the
Yeah,
armory.
they own the Armory. So that would mean they would have two.
Yeah, there's a post office on that
Yeah,
corner.
and the post office on that corner too.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put it at the post office because I don't want to do that. Yeah.
You put it on Chesapeake Avenue on the other side, if you put it somewhere towards the curb area, here's the entrance. You can't get into the building itself is not ADA compliant, but if you could pull here and the
Yeah,
box is there,
yeah.
I'm sure that's still on camera, whether it's from the county buildings across the street shoot out or even the courthouse itself shoot there. So it wouldn't be on the backside on Pennsylvania. It would have to be on Chesapeake,
Okay,
on the other side,
okay.
if it was closer to the road.
Can you send that to Amanda, however you got
Yeah, I
that?
can screenshot it and
Yeah.
write it on my little.
Yeah, because I don't know how you found that much, that aerial.
Just in Google Maps.
Google Street.
It shows it like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can zoom in and see.
Okay, so let me ask a question about the Armory. So I didn't know Towson University now owns the Armory. Do they use it?
Well, I don't know if they own the building, but it's.
Isn't it, it's a cafe or something in there now?
Starbucks
The
is a
Starbucks and stuff,
startup.
It's owned by Towson University.
It's a co-working space, the building itself.
Oh, okay, okay. So, well, I'm not sure there would already be surveillance. Videos, see with putting it at the courthouse or somewhere around that area, because I'm pretty sure the cameras reach out. Amanda and I can log in any of the county buildings, schools, stuff like that, but when it's an outside place like that, we can't. Even the Pikesville Library, the county can give me the camera. So, and yeah, so, but I mean, I can look at that, but for our purposes today in approving the plan, can we approve it? When you get to that part of approval, it would really help me if you leave it just generic, location will be at the county historical courthouse, exact location to be determined. That way we don't have to come back together for that one. But I knew I wasn't gonna know a exact location just yet because I have to meet with a couple people from the administration and property management as well on that one. But before I took their time, I wanted to know whether you all approved putting one there.
Would there be any instance where they would say no?
No,
Okay.
they've already said yes. They've said yes, but they just said, well, did you have an idea where to place it? And that's when I said, well, hold on, I don't want to take a bunch of time till you all agreed to add, because we're adding 2 boxes. Anyway, so in your packet, I showed you the maps where with the buffer for the median household income, the voter density, minority population, voter turnout, and then the final map is all of the locations. It's in your PowerPoint, but I also gave you a packet with bigger maps to look at, just in case, because the PowerPoint is pretty little. But the final locations would mean we would have 38 locations, because we're still gonna have that, it's 37 plus the box we have at UMBC in the Commons. So 37 outside locations, and then the UMBC is the 38th box inside the Commons building. So it's up to you, President Fuhrer, if you want me to move into, do you wanna approve the entire partial election plan, ballot box and early voting, or do you wanna approve ballot box and then approve early voting? So I can keep going to early voting, which is up to you.
Does anybody see any reason to just let her keep going and approve the whole thing unless there's any questions for what she's?
The objection I have, most of the locations for the boxes are generally, has a substantial residential community in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Okay. The Towson Courthouse does not. It's all county business people, employees and such. My only objection would be to having a box placed there, despite my objection to boxes to begin with. But that would be a location that I would not recommend.
And now remember, think
Good for them.
of the box.
Have the opportunity to use a drop box in their neighborhoods or location near their homes. I just don't think that is a prime location that would be beneficial. That's the only objection I have to the locations and the plans.
So, and I understand what you're saying, and any new box, we don't really know. Like everybody thought Middlebrook was gonna be a good location, so if the board wanted to move forward with the recommendation, I'm not telling you to do that, but if they could say that that particular box is temporary based, and we will revisit and because we keep track of how many ballots are retrieved from every box.
If I may, for just a slightly off center of the story issue right now, is there in place, you mentioned the one box you had a very, very small number of ballots in there. Is there a procedure in place that says if the box doesn't get X number of ballots, that we
No.
remove it from the program and replace it?
No, there is no set procedure, but the only regulation in the law is that I review that information and make a recommendation to you all whether to keep existing boxes, change existing boxes, add or add box. That's the only and so, but we do look at those numbers. And in 24, we moved 1 or 2, I can't remember, for that reason. They weren't being used for as much as we thought, so we moved them to a location that we thought would better serve the voters.
Yeah, I just.
But no, you all are that decision.
So we have 11 boxes, so it's not
Well, we
like,
have 30,
So-
what do you mean
I
11?
mean,
We're on the boxes, we have 30, we had 36 in 2024. We had, and just for some history, there were 42 in 2020. Many of the boxes were not used very often. So when I returned in 21, that was something that Amanda and I reviewed, and we reduced it down to 36. All of those boxes, with the exception of 2, were used heavily. And no one seemed to miss the 4 that we removed that weren't used very much. And we moved, I think, 2 boxes, but we kept it at 36. All of them except for Middlebrook are being used, in our opinion, substantially. And Oregon Ridge, I want to move that only because they locked that gate. So, yeah, that's how I base my recommendation.
So would it, as far as time and expense, it's really only the retrieval of the stuff in the box, correct?
Yes,
There's
and
no other cost.
no, it's just gonna add one, Amanda's the better person with this, but it'll add 1 to 2 different routes, right?
Right, yeah, pretty much what it'll do is just add a stop to someone's route.
Yeah, add what to 2 different routes. We have 3 routes, right? 3 routes. So it'll, and 1 is in the west side route, 1 is in the the yellow route, which is north, right?
Yes.
And you have
So
a,
that would be like north and
that
south.
route. Any other interoffice mail and everything else, or is it only ballot box retrieval? Do you have a separate team that goes to Towson?
Separate team that goes to Towson. Yeah.
So it would be, it's not saving you anything, because
Well,
it's not
they
like the
go-
team that,
And they go almost right past it anyway.
so it's not, it's a 5-minute addition as far as time,
Yeah,
as far as expense for the box.
yeah,
There's no other cost associated because we physically have the boxes.
yes, because we
Do you
had,
have a better place, Al, or something that you thought might be more
It's
substantial?
a new location, there's no need for it.
oh, I see what you're saying.
That's, multiple,
Well,
Well,
the
my-
other reason that,
no, it's just, it's a new location. I don't find it necessary, other than it benefits the employees of the county.
yeah, well, and voters that go to the agencies that are in there or go.
I understand, but if I'm
The
going, to
other,
the house, I'm not taking my ballot with me to drop it off in the mailbox. I'm going to take it down to Arbutus Rec Center because that's in my neighborhood.
yeah,
That's,
Yeah.
it's more of a neighborhood centric process. So I think that's where the emphasis should be, not not in a commercial district to draw people in. I just, it doesn't, I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's just something I have an objection to.
yeah,
It doesn't mean we can't pass the whole thing, but.
yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's,
I just to add a little context, the other reason that I wanted to add a box in Towson was, Towson High School is under construction and that was a very heavily used box. So that was the other reason I wanted to put, now we moved that to the middle school or whatever, but that's a little bit further outside of that York Road corridor.
There's a softball field that I do high school softball at. Just, I want to say Washington, I think it's on the east side of the legal district. That is, I think now a senior center such that a box, and it's in the middle of a residential district. And it's not that far from where you're talking about.
Oh,
The Bicota Senior Center, where the
Oh.
holiday party is.
I mean, I could consider that.
It's
Like,
just,
on it.
it's just, we do softball on the field next to it, used to be a school. And now it's either a senior center, or
It's Aging's headquarters. It's Bicota Senior Center, yep.
you know what I'm talking about.
Is there, would there be a place with that, because that parking's already very tight there. I know that,
You'd have to do the same thing, because they do have
know they have
county
care-
ride
yeah,
when they
but-
park there, but you could have, if you had a sign that says 24-hour ballot box drop off only, you could do it at the end.
the aging is gonna be like, no. That.
Off in front of the senior center, that's big enough for 4 or 5 vehicles, so the road goes down. That is covered under camera there, so it's like you could pull there for 5.
The road there closer, it was a Catholic high school that's now closed. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, no, I can't use that.
Can you use that? Okay.
In front of the senior center, there is a pull off That's why, because they pull over when the county ride vehicles come in, they pull over there and get the,
I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known, because I could already made the call to see if it would be possible.
that's where the holiday party is, that the county has, that building.
Yeah, that, and I know the parking is horrible there. So
Parking lot,
ballot box has to be on asphalt or concrete. And I know they're gonna say, because parking is already really
rough there.
very hard there. But I mean, if that's what the board wants me to do, look into locating it there instead of at the courthouse, I'm more than happy. to do
Demand they're
that.
going up to look at the courthouse anyway, when I just drove the street.
Yeah, but this has due, this,
Okay.
so, yeah.
So can we make a motion to accept the new location if feasible, and if that location is not, can we fall back and try the courthouse out this year? Does that make sense? Because we do have to approve something, right?
When is it? I'm sorry, I lost.
Or you can approve it without the courthouse and without by coda, and
She's
I can
recommending
submit it with
back it.
37, and I mean, it can be an emergency addition.
Shouldn't have time to do it.
I mean, they wait 3 years to give me stuff, so.
They doing it.
Would that be good, Al, is to recommend everything else? It could be Towson at the courthouse? Would that make, if the senior center is not available?
Okay, I don't know what the other members are thinking, whether they think the courthouse is, it could be that it could be all accepted. One vote in the objection would not kill the deal. Everybody else in favor.
Well, I mean, I'm recommending
Unanimous, I understand.
the library, and that's not residential right there either. But I mean, I don't know. I thought that it would be very convenient because a lot of citizens visit that courthouse in that area. And I was trying to find something right off of York Road that wasn't as far up as like the CCBC location. So that was my reasoning. I completely understand what you're saying, and that makes absolute, I didn't think of it. I didn't look at it like that. But you are correct that it's not a residential area. I can check to see if I can use the Bicoda or put one there. The board can do it 3 ways. You could put the whole approval on hold. We would then have to meet in November. No, we would have to meet again. I'd have to repost notice, redo the public hearing, and then we'd have to meet again. Or the board can vote to approve it with, as recommended, or approve it with the exception of Bicoda replaces the courthouse. Bicoda replaces the courthouse, or the last option is approve it without the courthouse and without Bicoda. Does that make sense?
What's the thoughts of the rest? So is it, we like the courthouse? Do we like the senior center, or do we like neither one? What's the rest of it?
If I may, we're talking about this picture, there is a county office building directly across the street from the courthouse, that a one-way street. You pull off to the right, you get out, you put your box, you get in, and you merge into traffic and go. That would be more sidewalk area if you're insisting on having one in downtown Towson, to put it across the street from the courthouse and put it there. Not that I'm again, I'm not necessarily approving that location or in favor of it, but it seems to me to be more accessible and easier.
Washington Avenue.
The traffic is moving in that way anyway. You pull over, you passenger if necessary, or you park the car, you go in, you drop the thing on the sidewalk. You're not taking any parking space. You get back in the car, you merge into traffic, you go. The other way, the driver's got to get out of the car, or somebody's got to block the road. There is no drive off.
And you also keep in mind people with wheelchairs which is why I recommend, if we do approve this, if you're on the Washington Avenue side.
But I was thinking the Washington Avenue side.
Parking spaces.
Yep.
You won't be in the, and you also have to realize sometimes with it being on the courthouse side, sometimes they block that, I can't remember, the Chesapeake, they block the entrance coming off of, what's the backside? I can't think of the street, Allegheny. You go down Allegheny.
I think it's Allegheny.
Well, sometimes they block it
Bosley.
off depending on what kind of, thank you.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of case is being heard at that court. I've tried to go sometimes, you have to go all the way around. So it can be difficult if it's on, which is Washington Avenue is going to be my recommendation for placement.
And that was called, Drew's office is on that road. That's the side I was thinking too.
An option is,
Um,
well, I mean, you may have covered it, approve it, all the locations with the exception of that location. And if you get, if
So you
you
can-
decide another location or the senior place or the across the street from where this picture shows, it might be a better location for access. That could be approved at a later date. I mean, is that an option?
No, we'd have to public hearing. We'd have to redo this whole process. And there's a
Okay.
time, so we'd have to meet again in 2 weeks or a week and a half.
So,
Because this is due to the state board.
And what's the due date?
so what's the feelings of the rest of the board? Do we like the courthouse, Towson area? Do we like the senior center area? Or do we, third option, neither one? Everything else?
Boxes instead of 36.
What
I
about
mean, 38.
recommending the Washington Avenue Washington,
Or
approving this one based on having it in Washington?
that's also a choice. Or you could,
We could approve this.
Yeah, do-
We've got the
getting people.
And if we approve it and you get there and find out that it's not available, it just drops off. We don't have to have another meeting, right?
no, it would just, no, it
If you
would.
went,
Well, you can't do it that way.
I can't do it that way.
Prove what is actually going to be placed.
right, we have,
Hereford I. We would still says I have to give them our election plan by November. I would still would have met that deadline, but it's kind of like when we had to do that emergency polling place change. We would still have to redo the process, but we could,
if we approve a Washington,
technically, we could redo the process when you have to meet back and do it for polling places.
if we approved Washington Avenue today, you have 2 weeks to
Or
go
just
out there.
approve the courthouse
The
today.
courthouse, if we approve that and you go out there and find that it's better on Washington as opposed to this or whatever, you don't have to come back for anything.
No, I don't have to come back.
Now, if we approve a courthouse site and you guys get on the road and you find out that nothing's good and you don't want to use it at all, do you have to come back to us or can you submit? Because
gonna
we've
have to-
approved that site if
I'm
available.
gonna have to come back to you, because you guys are approving the location and the number. But I can come back to you with the polling place part of the plan at the same time. In the meantime, that location would be listed on, as your board action. These are the locations. Which is why I say if you say if the courthouse location doesn't work, place it with Coda. If you say that now as part of the approval, we wouldn't have to do this all over again.
Can I have two recommendations? One, since we're having this discussion, let's break up the vote now from early voting and boxes.
Yeah.
Those are separate. And then when we're ready to do that, that's the recommendation I wanted to make.
So what's the thoughts? Does the board like a Towson courthouse site? Number one. Option two, do we like a Bicota Senior Center site if available? If not, Towson Courthouse, or
Hold on.
like none at all?
I misspoke. If you switch to Coda, we have to redo this whole process because I have to notify the public
Okay.
that that's a proposed location. So I misspoke. We can't just say, move it. If there's a change to what we've told the public that they could give me input. Maryland law also now requires me to notify all the stakeholders, all the legislators, and everybody, pretty much, I have an everybody but God list that I notify of these things prior the election plan. We would have to do this process all over again if we went with by coda. The only way we don't do the process, and I don't care if we have to do the process, we have to, but we're gonna have to do it in the next a week and a half, 2 weeks, is if you approve it as recommended or approve it reducing, taking one off.
Yeah, so I want to make sure that we use all the boxes. I don't want, you know what I mean? Because we have the resources. I think we should use them all.
Yeah, we have 40.
Yes.
Yeah.
Motion.
Is that
Make a
the,
motion to, is that a motion to use the locations as listed?
Well, so I will move that we use the locations that are listed with the exception of ensuring that the historic courthouse location is placed on the Washington Avenue side because that is the most accessible.
Yeah, you don't have addresses.
that was already where I was thinking.
But the historic courthouse is 400 Washington Avenue. That's the address.
Right.
But to make sure that the box
It's on the Washington side, right. And Amanda and I talked about that. I said, but we want to put the box on this road. She said it doesn't matter. The address is still what you just said. So we looked into that and that's what we thought too on Washington. By the black, on the other side of the black fence.
So that's a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Is there further discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, so Al said no. And everybody else was a yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So the next part of the plan is early voting. So early voting. Administration and county council approves it and the money is in our budget.
Oh, okay.
We talked about this at either the last meeting or the meeting before a little bit. Adding a 12 site for whatever reason does not increase our voter reach. It stays at 95.3. Maryland law requires us to touch at least 80% of our voters within a 5-mile radius. We are at 95.3 with the 11 locations that we have. Because we did not implement the new poll books, remember that got messed up and now we're not having new poll book. We're using old poll books and we can't get extras. Although we added money in case the board did want to go to 12 to the budget, we did not add we did not add enough, or there are no replacement poll books to purchase. We also did not we don't have enough to fund election judges. It costs a little over $50,000 just to pay election judges for one site. So which is why that brings me to my recommendation of keeping it at 11. It's also the staffing resources. Maryland law and regulations require that I have one of my staff at every site to open and to close and to bring the stuff back every night. So I already lose 11 key people during those 8 days of early voting, which makes it very difficult. So that's the other reason. The most reason is because we would not have reached more voters by adding that site and having that expense, not with the current available buildings. Now, there's Victory Villa is going to be under construction. There's a couple other things going on with Rec and Park. So maybe by 2028, there'll be another building that we can add on the east side or whatever that will expand our reach. But right now, there's no other building that meets all of the requirements that will increase our voter, reach. So the considerations that, I made are similar to the same considerations that I made for ballot boxes, voter turnout, voter density, voter population, median household income, minority population, and, again, voter turnout. The, 11 early voting sites will be the same as that we had in 2024, which reduces voter confusion when you add or change a site. Victory Villa will be under construction, which is the only change in a site that I'm recommending. And I'm recommending to put it at the Middle River Recreation Activity Center. Which is a newer facility. It's 1.7 miles from Victory Villa. There's actually more and better parking at this center than there is at Victory Villa. It's close to public transportation. There is already security, surveillance, and video set up already around outside and inside the facility. It meets all Maryland laws and requirements, which is why I recommend. It's also larger than Victory Villa. And Victory Villa, has anybody ever been there? It's an old schoolhouse, so it's a whole bunch of little rooms. So it's kind of really crowded, but having it in this activity center will make the early voting site more like the other ones in a gym, in a bigger area. So
Victor Villa was the one that we had public comment on for the.
ballot box and
Okay.
yeah, so we're not having a ballot box there either, because I didn't want to put a ballot box there and go through what we went through when Woodlawn was under construction last election cycle. We left it there for voter convenience, but then the voters complained because of the construction. So I said, okay, we'll find a good place to move it close to Victory Villa, and that's where I came up with the Middle River. As I said, the requirement is 80%, but we touched 95.3%. There is equitable distribution of the early voting sites throughout the county. And, I took those other considerations. Therefore, I recommend. Can you go to the last, or the page with the 11 sites?
This is what.
No, with the list of the 11 sites. Oh, I don't have that oh yeah, there it is. Did you just have it? There it is, right there. So as you see, we would keep all the same that we've had before, except for EVO 6, which was Victory Villa would now be Middle River. And that is my recommendation.
I have a question. I had a couple of people reach out to me and wanted to understand, let me ask this question. Does it cost the same to have an early voting site at the Board of Elections location as opposed to the other locations?
It depends on how much equipment, how big the location is. For example, we can send more equipment to Middle River than we can to Victory Villa because of the size of the room. So yes and no. It doesn't cost more to have it at another location, unless it's the state fair, because we have to pay them. Unless it's a private location or a location. If it's a county-owned building, then no. But it doesn't cost the same. It depends on
Depends on.
how a lot of things, like, yeah, how much equipment that determines how many judges, et cetera.
So for the one that's here, the Baltimore County Board of Elections, would that be considered cheaper because it's at the Board of Elections versus?
Well, it's maybe not cheaper, but it's easier on resources because I'm right down the road. And although I assigned somebody to this location to manage it, it has an early voting manager. They also can do other things. Amanda might step in, I might step in. We open it every day. So it costs less, employee staffing wise, resource wise, having it here.
In this particular one, I mean, because it's been moved. Is it more difficult to get here on public transportation?
Yeah, here. So, I guess when the MTA determines where buses are gonna be, it depends on the residential houses and apartments and things like that that are in the area. And this is all pretty new construction, but they're finishing the 55 and older right up the street and all that. Right now, the bus stops at the top of Dolefield by Royal Farms, but it will come down and it's scheduled to do that in 2026.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more difficult than it was when it was at the Owings Mills library. However, it was on the third floor, so parking and there were all kinds of other voter inconveniences. So when we decided to have it here, the administration was part of the reason they built this big room. What they wanted to have it here, because it would be better parking and things like that. But the public transportation is a little bit further than, I don't know, what is it at? It's a half a mile. Maybe from Royal Farms, or maybe it's a little bit more than that from Royal Farms to here.
This chart,
I don't know which one you have up.
it's I'm not sure which one it is. It's a color chart, the early voting centers. Okay,
Voter turnout.
Is it, is it the one that says household median income here? Is that the one you're looking?
He's got voter turnout.
Okay, voter turnout.
Turnout?
the colors, are they, excuse me, they for early voting, the numbers, or are they for the total?
It's just voter turnout, total voter
turnout
turnout.
at the end of the day?
Okay, so it doesn't differentiate.
Yeah. These numbers on this, voters served, does that mean within that area or that's the people?
Within the 5-mile radius.
These are not the actual people that came into those sites,
No, that's the voter served
served by that area.
by that 5-mile radius.
You don't have a, where's count, do you, to see which ones were heavier as far as?
I don't need that, I can tell you.
Right, let's stay on that.
Are different because we now have mail-in ballots that we didn't have a couple years ago, that not in the, the volume that we have now. Historical data is hard for early voting. Early voting started in 2010 and it's grown in popularity, but then it kind of stayed the same the last election because the mail-in ballot grew in popularity. So, it's hard to judge historically yet. Because we're going into a gubernatorial, which, believe it or not, different people come out to vote for a gubernatorial than a
Now, the
presidential.
Towson University, does that meet everything? Because I know
Now it
had
does.
issues with Towson in the past, with
Yeah.
the building, with the lines or whatever.
Yes, so I'm working with,
Professors.
and the professors, yes. We're working with them on. Yeah, at first I considered not recommending Towson for those reasons. But after I spoke with, Towson and, their stakeholders, it'll be fine. We will figure it out.
So Mr. Ertel knows as well that this site is.
Has there ever been 12 centers?
Not in Baltimore County.
Okay.
So we went from 5, Montgomery and PG have 12, but they're required to have 12. We're just under the 12 requirement.
Just out of curiosity, devil's advocate.
And we're gonna reach that 12, probably by 2028. I anticipate us having.
Somewhere in the Randallstown corridor that could be beneficial with an added. I
No.
don't know the population concentration.
No, and if I do that, I'm really gonna hear it from the east side. People
The
there
school that was built,
can't be in a school,
the
can't be in a school.
early voting sites.
The schools are open.
Session. It has. Where the where the seniors can still go get their meals and stuff like that during the time we're using their
What you do
building.
for Reisterstown.
That's what I do for Reisterstown. Finding it is not the, because I've actually been the one that's done all the investigations since 2012. It started in 10. I started, so when we went from 5 to 8 and then 8 to 12, I'm the one who did all the investigation, and we looked at 45 locations on the west side. And I don't know, 37 or whatever on the east side, trying to find locations.
Can we put a site in Baltimore City right in the middle?
It's the Ware County.
Is it, you know, Ware County?
But none of theirs help us. Don't increase our reach, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, because I've also had an experience as, I live on the east side, right? And when I look at this, I'm just looking, like Parkville's heavily populated, and you do have Huntsville as a place for people in Parkville to access. But as mentioned, Honeygo is very, very, I mean, you should see the
Very
lines.
crowded, I know.
Voting is just like election day. Those
Well,
lines are long.
right, and so what we are gonna do this coming, Honeygo used to have 14 poll books, deployed. It was reduced to 10 when the state changed to the Cradle Point routers. Because only 10 poll books can be hooked up to a router. For the next election cycle, we have worked with the state board and Amanda, we're gonna go back to deploying 14 poll books. That will help reduce the line, not just at Honeygo, but at Randallstown.
There was a new.
Sorry,
I can't.
I got the new Cradle Points, cause
Or is that? I can't remember. I don't know. I know there was a new recreation center that was built.
that's, now that,
You know what I'm talking about? I can't
we
remember.
looked, it's near Honeygo, and we looked into that. It's on that side. We looked into that, the parking for that one. There was something with the parking, and, I can't remember what else. I have to go back and look at my notes.
Yeah.
But for this election cycle,
Built. Carl Jackson and them.
oh, that's the one where, oh, Rosedale.
Yeah.
So, and I looked into using that one, and it did not change our voter reach or the number of voters served. And I got a lot of pushback from Rec and Parks about that one because they do meals for the students and it's too close to the school. Even though Middle River Activity Center is also close to the school, the parking is different. And yeah, so it will work because we can block off the parking, but at the Rosedale, it wasn't, it wasn't as easy to do. So for this, I mean, I'll be honest with you, for this coming election cycle, we really don't have the equipment to have a 12 site. I just don't, because we're still using the same 2006 poll books and we're still using the same voting equipment. The voting equipment lease expires after this coming, election cycle. When we order for the next voting equipment, when we place our order, I've already planned on ordering additional poll books and, voting, the scanners, ballot marking devices, or whatever is selected.
Right. So compared to all of the other sites, how much traffic comes to the actual Board of Elections versus?
Well,
Yeah.
and and now they have lines. I think the only ones that were busy right off the jump was like Honeygo and Randallstown. The rest of them, Woodlawn, when we went from 5 to 8 and increased it to Woodlawn, they had like nobody turn out. We would have Denard, who did Randallstown, then go through the line and say, hey, go over to Woodlawn. Here's a map. They have nobody in line. And we did that at Honeygo. We sent them over to Victory Villa because there was nobody in line, but so it takes a minute for the voters, to know the newer locations like this building. So I expect this time it will increase. And then also we're putting the early voting, locations, on everything that goes out for voter education this time around. Do you not want to have one here? Because
I was
it's fine with me.
No. Because I was just, this is just an assumption that because it's a board of elections, you don't need as much equipment, you don't, as the other.
Oh, no, yeah, you do.
Like split it across.
I mean, no, because they're back there working. Yeah, no,
So,
yeah.
I mean, the reason why I'm saying that is because like, at least on the east side, in the Parkville, Honeygo, that area, and you have individuals from like Perry Hall and Kingsville that do not have cars, it's very hard for them. And some people have expressed, at least the organizations that have reached out to me, that for those who do not have public transportation and they work those jobs where they just can't get off on election day, they depend on early voting and having a more accessible site for people who don't have a car in the areas that are very populated is.
So and that's one of the I know Delegate Jackson, that's why he wanted a site at the Rosedale location. But when I told him that I was gonna recommend the Middle River one, he said that would also help. And that's why I'm adding a box at the Rosedale. And I know a ballot box isn't the same as being able to vote in person, but that is why I recommended to add that box at that community center, because I know that there are voters in that area that, like you said, don't have transportation. And that is something.
Sidewalks to walk for those who, I can't.
And that's what.
We have very few sidewalks.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. But, that whole area and figuring that out is on my ongoing list for when we do have the equipment. And like I said, whether it's required or not by law, my plan was already to add the funding, not only for staffing, but for equipment. And we're ordering new equipment. Amanda and I already know to add that 12 site so that we have, if the board does, if we do have a building and you do approve it, that we do have what we need to move forward with a 12 site. And our county is growing, our voter numbers are growing. So, I mean, we're almost at 600,000 and we're gonna have to have 12 sites anyway.
All right.
Can I make a motion?
All my questions.
Okay. I move that we approve these 11 early voting center locations for the 2020 gubernatorial election.
Second.
Saying there's a second, there's a motion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All in favor.
Okay, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I want to commend you all on these maps. These are excellent.
But thank Amanda, because I'm telling you, she is my IT guru. The one, I just wanted to note in the one, I noticed when I was talking, when you get to, early voting, where I talk about, the proposed early voting, it should be equitable distribution of EV, centers. So I will make that change on the official board documents. And I apologize, I didn't catch that. So is there, that's all I had. That's, the rest of the election plan will be presented as soon as I know it, after the redistricting is finished. So I'm hoping by the December meeting, I will have something. If not, we're gonna have to, we'll have to plan ahead so we can do the public hearing and all that's required for the remaining of the election plan.
Any other new business? You want to be sworn in because we're almost done. Are we good then?
Wait 1 second. Thank you. I have something going on.
Announcements and disclosures. So we'll start, board count.
That's what you do?
I don't know, John,
Oh, you chopping out.
do you have?
I'm sorry, the speakers in the room, I think, aren't picking you up.
You have? We'll go, Crystal.
250 Congressman Johnny O.
Have them all come.
Nothing for me. Nothing for me.
Nothing from me.
Yes, I had $35 to Johnny Ray Sowing, Senator, and 100 to Delegate Rick Metzger.
And I'm sorry, well, I couldn't hear you earlier.
Sorry, well, I couldn't hear you earlier. We
$50 to
said
Pat Young
$50
for
to Pat Young for
county council president,
Executive.
executive, sorry, whatever.
Executive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We knew what you meant.
yes, thank you.
And then I have none. I don't have anything.
All right, that's all for that. Meeting information, December 10th, holiday party.
Right, so we are deciding what we're gonna do in either Dana or Tisha or both. We'll send you all an email and let you know if you wanna if you wanna do part of our the giving and all of that. And then if you guys can just come on in here, you're taking the long way. Taking the long route, you could take the shortcut. So there's a reason we're bringing everybody in here. We have people to be. So the. Being on the. There.
Anybody have the book?
I have the book. And did I give you the card?
Right here.
Okay. So where are they? Come right here. This is President Fuhrer. He's gonna.
Nice. 4, 5.
Four.
4. You can all raise your right hand and then repeat. I.
I, Tia MacArthur, Latasha Daly. I, Latasha Daly.
I, Brittany Simmons.
I, Erica Penman.
Do swear or affirm
Do swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of, and then fill in your office.
execute the office of
Election.
I'm sorry,
You're a program assistant.
program assistant,
Right?
execute the program of receptionist,
Execute the office of,
Execute the office of Administrative Officer.
Execute the office of program assistant.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
Congratulations, you're all.
And then once they finish signing, we have one more thing. If something else going on, Will.
All right. It is an honor and a privilege to recognize President Fuhrer for 10 years of service to the Baltimore County government. For over a decade, William has been consistent, positive force in the community through his work as an election judge and ongoing leadership as president of the board of the Baltimore County Board of Elections. He has shown an inspiring commitment to the election process and our team in Baltimore County. We are genuinely grateful for his contributions and for his unwavering work ethic demonstrated in all of the organizations he is part of. President Furer's service extends significantly into the community. His record of civic engagement is remarkable and speaks directly to his action-oriented nature and care and support of his neighbors. Many of you may not have known, but some of his community involvement include election judge and chief judge for 8 years, president of the Dunlogan Community Association, president of Precinct 12 Community Police Alliance, president of the Essex Day Festival, treasurer of the Heritage Society of Essex and Middle River, treasurer of the Eastern Regional Lions Club, area vice president to the Southeast PTA Council of Baltimore County, member of the Trade Point Atlantic Advisory Committee, member of the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, and a Freemason. Among these achievements, his role as president of the Dundalk Independence Day Parade perfectly illustrates his energy and commitment. His dedication is portrayed in planning and executing the parade and is a clear reflection of the diligence and commitment he brings to all his endeavors, including his work with us. Thank you for 10 years of service, for the countless hours you contribute to your community, and for setting a strong example of dedication. Please, this community.
This for you. And we have one more thing. Amanda's gonna bring it over for you.
Uh-oh.
They didn't give me a big bag, so give up.
You can take it out for them.
Well, it's got the thing in the inside.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you all.
Blue pants.
Oh.
Pants or khaki pants.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Something else? There, we did anything else? Are we taking pictures?
Yes.
If
Oh,
not,
speaking of pictures, if you don't want to be in the picture, I know some boards don't even want their name on the election website. If you don't want to be in the picture or you don't want your name, you don't mind being in the picture, just let me know. That's not a problem. Cause you know, because of security reasons. There's some local boards that even wanted their names off the letterhead. You all haven't asked me to do that, so you're still on my letterhead. So, anyway, yeah, we're gonna take a group picture and then individual pictures. We're gonna move the flags for the group picture. And then for the individual, we'll have you stand in the vestibule with the seal behind you, if you don't mind, and we'll take that picture.
no other business. We're at 12:18. Motion of such, who wants to?
My hair and makeup.
All right, now motion for an adjournment. Anybody want to leave or we want to stay here? Anybody want a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjournment? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you all.